Welcome, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Future Talks. As our 7,000 podcast listeners know, that this is all about the future of education, and there are a lot of big things that we're faced with right now, from the post-pandemic trauma to now the trauma of immigration and what that means for schools, and the trauma of AI, right? And all of this big wave coming over us. And it is time for schools to really think about reimagining and redesigning the purpose of schools so we can better engage young people across America. Today, we're very lucky to have a team here, an AUHSD team led by Hilda Vasquez. The team is the CVA, Cambridge Virtual Academy. These are our best and brightest teachers, and we have a lot of them across the district. So I want to quickly introduce Kasey Spencer, Jae Kim, and Solorzano, the three lead teachers. And we're going to get right into it, team. First of all, Hilda, the question is, what is CVA and why does it exist?
Thank you for having us on, Mr. Matsuda. CVA is a course-based independent studies that is 100% virtual. This is actually our 6th year, so we are relatively new, although e-learning has been in our district since 2008. And so really building on that idea that we need to explore different modalities for our students to access education. And as you know, the world of work has changed. And so we need to have places and schools that are responsive to those needs. And so CVA exists for that reason. A student or family may be looking to have something that's very intimate. They may like to travel. They may have a work that now works remotely and allows them to travel, or they're looking for a different experience. And so CVA is able to meet that need, and students can take 100% of their junior high and high school courses online. And that is complemented with dual enrollment and also AP courses, and really comprehensive in nature with CTE pathways. Additionally, CVA partners with our district to promote concurrent enrollment, and so students can pursue maybe athletics or CTE pathways, and they can take an e-learning class in the evening. And so that gives them time during their schedule to take arts or to pursue something different, or have some sort of a hybrid schedule if that is needed. Maybe they're already out working or pursuing something. And then lastly, we are also partnering in situations that, you know, maybe a student or a family may be going through some traumatic experience, or they may be in need to have a stable educational environment, right? And not disenroll for schools. And so we provide that opportunity as well. And so we're really multifaceted. And what I love about CVA is just the energy and the idea that education really does need to work for the students and family. And we have a team that really has that disposition of transforming teaching and learning. And so that's a little bit about what CVA is all about.
It's a little bit and a lot, Hilda. So CVA itself is an incubator for redesign ideas, for innovation. I'm going to open it up to the teachers, and let's get your take on what innovation means and what you guys are working on. All of you are from comprehensive schools, so just like to hear you chime in on some of the things that Hilda talked about.
I can get started, as CVA is a school of innovation and thinking deeply about what technology is going towards and the horizons of that. And one of the things that we are thinking through is agents. So agents are a little bit different, from my understanding, from what we have potentially have come across with prompting. So agents are these entities, software entity that can make its own decisions and can call APIs, call tools, or call other agents that call other agents that call other agents, so on and so forth. And sometimes agents could call one another. So it can be some kind of looping experience. So for example, let's just say in math, there can be an agent that sees the context of the student, which I can go into a little bit further with our limitations with that right now. An agent can potentially see, oh, the student needs tutoring or breaking down the problem step by step at this moment. And so an agent would take care of that piece. And then there will be another agent that potentially might give feedback on the student's work. There might be another agent that potentially creates customized problems based on the student's needs and their experiences and curiosity. So there's different agents, but there's another agent that calls each agent depending on the context. And so that's kind of like what agents are.
So basically, a student potentially can have multiple agents or coaches depending on the challenge. And I think that's the era that we're heading into. And what I think education is morphing to is sort of a more customized delivery of this product called education, moving from a factory model to a very individualized support model. Kasey, what are some of your wanderings or examples of innovative practices coming from Oxford Academy, the number one kind of arguably sort of traditional academic school, to a place like CVA?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Matsuda. As Jay was sharing about agents, it had me reminded me of the relationships that we build here at CVA first. And I think when we're trying to create an innovative space and a place for teachers to really take risks, try new things, I think sometimes in a traditional model, teachers sometimes feel like they don't have that flexibility or that freedom to do so. And so one of the things I think we do quite well here at CVA is we do build out a space for teachers to be innovative first, because we can't just start throwing ideas out and expect people to jump on board if their belief systems are not there yet. And so by innovation for us, it's providing those spaces for teachers to create, to take risks, to have safe places to explore the technology, whether that's the AI agents or personalizing curriculum. It could be in designing project-based learning environments in their classrooms. We've looked at lots of different models along the way, and really, I think Hilda also is very encouraging to us collaborating on new ideas and new projects. And then the goal for us is that all of our teachers will take back, if they're working in a traditional school, they will take back some of those learnings to the traditional sites.
Yeah, so Kasey, most of the public have a very negative view of online learning. Like, I think this is part of that trauma from COVID when the country just flipped it. What is different? You touched upon this engaging experiences in CVA, but can you be more specific when people come in to observe a class at CVA? What is different about it?
Absolutely. I think one thing that is different is we do take time to get to know the students first and foremost. Our teachers are really good at checking in with every student when we meet synchronously, but also asynchronously. I think we have tools that allow us to have interactions with students one-on-one. I've been an online teacher since 2008, and arguably, while teaching at Oxford Academy as well, my online students and I had stronger relationships often because of that personalized one-on-one interaction via discussion boards, feedback on assignments. We really focus on feedback versus grading. And I think that's a key innovation, because I think so often we get caught in the rut of just grading. But when we're working with students to provide feedback so they can improve, and the learning becomes more of the process and focus on the process versus the product, that's where innovation happens, because students are able to explore new concepts, ideas, and things.
So, Ray, one of the big ideas with CVA is to shift away from seat time, right, to work and independent study. And can you build on what Kasey just said about what is different about CVA? And yeah, I'll leave it at that. So you're taking it away from there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. I think one of the big ideas at CVA is or online learning in general, right? This is not COVID learning, it's not pandemic learning. And so we still have the rigor, right? These are teacher-created courses, and ultimately the teacher is going to be the one to decide what mastery means, in those individual classrooms. And right now we are, a smaller school. We're able to be a little bit more nimble. We're able to, Kasey really emphasized that relationship idea. And so, the idea of, one size fits all education, yes, it works, right? For many years it has worked, but that's not something that we necessarily believe in. And so with online learning, we actually have almost an easier time really customizing to the point with our learning management system, eCadence, where our students don't even know that, hey, you might be getting assignment A, you might be getting assignment B. We don't call it that, of course, but everybody is going to get separate assignments and really be graded on the idea of mastery. And so last year, with Kasey's help, Manny Johnson's help, we really created this idea around mastery-based learning, that every student, might look a little bit different, with what the finish line, if you will, looks for one student might not be the same for another. And so I think that's something that we really value, is that mastery means different things for every student. And so as we explore this, with the advent of AI that Jay was talking about earlier, we really hope to truly create customized learning paths that are really based on each individual student's ability. And so that way, whatever that student's next step after junior high, after high school is, they're just a little bit more prepared.
What do you guys think is the biggest sort of criticism of a school like CVA, and how do you overcome it? I think, Ray, you just touched upon the mastery approach to assessing talent versus traditional grading. So that itself, I think there's a lot of folks within our own system opposed to that. We could start there, but also think about other sort of criticisms of CVA. Anybody want to take on that? Hilda.
Yeah, just to build on what has been shared, I think, we have been in so many ways, I think, programmed to think that we must spend this amount of time and this amount of minutes and this amount of weeks in a course because of that Carnegie unit. But I think that we've all experienced as adults having to figure out how to master something to get it done, right? And it doesn't necessarily take the same amount of time for every single person. And so I think the idea that a predetermined time equates into mastery is a missed opportunity, because a lot of students may come with funds of knowledge or context where they have already been practicing this and they have a lot of those concepts mastered. And so to honor that, I think it's incredibly valuable as an educational system. Like, we do need to ground ourselves in, like, every person coming in brings some funds of knowledge. And for us to dismiss that and say that it is not important, you must complete a course in this amount of time, it doesn't work. Now, because we're in course independent studies, we do have semester classes. So we do expect them to be completed in a semester, but how we do that leveraging what they're bringing in is important, because then education becomes relevant to them, and they can pursue maybe a project and take an action and put it into practice. And so really that becomes authentic in nature, and it's exciting, and it builds their curiosity, which again, we don't know what is going to be available for them, right? With AI taking over, I heard you say, I think in your last podcast, like 30%, maybe 40% of the jobs are going to be replaced and redesigned in some ways. And so if we're not creating that kind of disposition or training our students to think nimbly like that and be flexible and to be able to shift and have the skill set to do that, I think that we're not servicing them as a organization. And so I think for our team is really important to provide choice and to provide voice. And so, we talked a little about modern classroom is like, these are the things you must do. Like, we need to know that you can master them. And then these are the things that you could also explore. These are things that you can aspire to do. And so giving them choices, and also because it's independent studies, if they know something, they mastered it, they can complete that module and turn it in, and then they're going to have free time, right? They can explore something else, and then next week they get something else.
Big differences, I think, in terms of CVA and its approach to traditional grading, as opposed to so many online programs, which is really traditional grading, right? So mastery is, I think, a way forward. And you had mentioned, I think I quoted Alex Cotran of AIEDU, and there are many economists that are saying, I mean, the facts are there, that the fastest growing underemployed sector are recent college grads, 25%. So our big, we better wake up to that, because we've been pushing kids into college, and we still agree that college is the way to go. But with 25% and growing underemployment, because the first jobs in the so-called white-collar world that are going away are the entry-level jobs being replaced by AI. So what does that mean for us, for CVA? And especially, there are people in our own system that really do not want to bring AI into the schools. And there are many districts out there that have policies that are still firewalled that. Just want to open it up for a discussion and get your feedback on that.
Okay, if you don't mind, I would like to start that. Just thinking about Ray and I meet to discuss our professional learning plan for the year, and kind of AI obviously has been on the radar from the beginning. But as we do more research, and as more research comes out, one of the big ideas, and we saw this at the AI Summit, is that this human element that we want to continue to have in our work. And so some of the research that I've been doing is just focusing on how do we become co-creators of the content, and how do we become co-creators of what we do in the classroom with AI and the teacher. So yes, AI is there to do some of the work and help with some of the efficiency, but not everything has to be efficient. Sometimes we want a process, right? So we're not always looking for the end product, but we're looking for a process that builds collaboration, that builds that creativity, that allows students to critically think about things. Because if we're going to AI for product, we're going to lose some of the passion that students develop as they're exploring new ideas, as they're trying out new projects, or they're working cross-curricularly, because that's another area that we really try to focus on as well. So just thinking back to how AI is being implemented here, is we are focusing our next year on just really trying to figure out, where does the teacher have a role alongside of the AI technology that is coming out, so that we can help our students navigate that space as they go into the world.
So Jae and Ray, you want to respond to what Kasey just said about this concept of co-creation with AI, among teachers, and maybe teachers and students co-creating together with AI. Just want to give that to you guys. Jae, your thoughts on that? And then we'll go to Ray.
Yeah, I think that in terms of co-creation in the world of AI is going to look like between teachers, students, and AI all together. And for example, in my classroom, we have team leaders who have a big say in the direction of our class, the way that we do class, the way that we sometimes even do assignments and community building. These team leaders come and give insight to what we can do. And I think one step forward in the future, near future, I'm sure, is inputting somehow in a safe way, maybe through even e-cadence, the conversations that we're having with AI with my students. And then we input that, and then we see what the AI is saying. And it's going to be very surprising, I think, a lot of insights and a lot of things that we potentially might have missed. I think AI is going to be able to bring that into the conversation, where I think it is going to help us to have greater actionable and more effective and meaningful ways forward. And also one thing that you shared, Mr. Matsuda, just about other districts not allowing AI. And I think maybe it was you who said it. I know somebody said it. It was like the biggest gap or discrepancy between the job force one day is going to be people who know how to use AI and people who don't. Like that is going to be the biggest indicator and the biggest factor. And so I think limiting students and their ability to engage with AI, I think kind of even it could be said, it could be a little bit immoral and it could be not right. And it could touch a lot heavily on the issues of equity. And I think that's why it's very important to get this new technology and implement it in a safe way, which I think I really appreciate AUHSD for putting together AI task force and creating an AI framework that I think other districts can tap into and use so that they can have an understanding of how to see AI. And so I wanted to also point that out as well.
Thanks, Jay. I really want to build on what Jay said about the workforce. And one of the things for me, I'm the work-based learning coordinator here at CVA, and I'm always really trying to think about what are potential opportunities for the students in the future. And so using AI to explore themselves, I think is something that is unique to each student. Whether it's interacting, as Kasey said, co-creating with the content in the class, or really just kind of creating and discovering your path forward. I think it's really important, again, to put that student in the center. But I also, in the back of my mind, I would say the reason why I'm here at CVA really comes down to the blockbuster problem, right? At some point in our career, we really focused on, the blockbuster idea. If we don't innovate, we're going to go the way of blockbuster. And I think when it comes to allowing or not allowing, as Jay said, if, the biggest gap, those who can and those who can't, I think one thing, and I hope teachers will lead with curiosity, is how can teachers, in our profession, how can we use AI to better serve the students that are in front of us? I think a very innovative thing that we're doing here is we're partnering with UCI. We have created, UCI reflective practices based around the PTAs that the students are doing. We now have teacher-facing, student-facing, and parent-facing AI dashboards that are synthesizing, information that the students have been inputting. But a big caveat to that, and I think I'm very lucky to work with Dr. June On from UCI, where we're not taking everything that this AI is outputting as fact. It is a piece of data that is actionable, but maybe not accurate. I like when he states it as that, where this is data that is actionable, that I, as a teacher, I can make moves based on what my students are providing feedback, what they got out of these lessons or didn't get out of these lessons, the delta between what I thought they were going to get, what they actually, reflected on, what the AI is saying, can just inform my practice moving forward. But that little piece alone, for me, it leads to, a bunch of questions going off in my head, which usually get me to the point of how can I be better for my students? And I think that's one thing right now where we're developing, we're in the middle of developing, it is not finished, the AI to really help us understand the students in our classrooms a little bit better. professional learning with AI next year, as Kasey was mentioning it, is how can we use that information, right, to now go and create based on our, our school vision. How can we create more opportunities for our students to better understand themselves, to better understand our content, to better understand how they can marry those two ideas to become stronger learners in the future?
I think that's a huge point you made in terms of the North Star for CVA and for the district, because people lose track of that. They focus, like in this AI world, some districts on the extreme are just, that's the goal, right? There's no, what the AI for what, right? So we're kind of cutting edge, I would say, but we only go as far as the teachers go. And I think the last question I have is, how do we help other teachers change their mindset and embracing the goals of CVA, which really are the goals of the CPSF and the district as well, in a virtual space with AI support?
So I will jump in and say, in a very micro way, we have been doing this. 3 years ago, we started creating our accelerated summer program. And one of the most beautiful things, in my opinion, is we sent out those classes for myself, for the world history, we sent that out to every world history teacher in the district, right? Hey, put your eyeballs on this. What's it missing? What doesn't it have? To really get, hey, is the rigor still there? The teachers that have applied to teach summer school are some of the best and brightest. We're talking department chairs around the district, teachers that I respect very much, that I've learned quite a bit from in my career. They go through that, teaching that summer program, and at the end, the first year, oh my gosh, everything was in that class, but hey, you know what? I think I would want to add this. Hey, great, let's do that. Let's add together, right? And so we are really working together with the teachers in the district, and it goes both ways, right? They're coming in and they're seeing, hey, at CVA, here's how we're using eCadence, here's how we're using the learning management system, but also, hey, here's what we're doing at our school, and this has been working really well. And so now we kind of get the best of both worlds. And so it's, it's input, output, really going both ways, where hopefully that word of mouth, right, will start to spread, whether or not you want to use these classes for real-time credit recovery, credit recovery, after the semester is over. We have these classes built where any teacher in our district can pick those classes up from the resources in eCadence, and they can start going. And so really for me, I want teachers to understand, like at CVA, we're just providing value the same way they're providing value in their own classrooms, right? It just might look a little bit differently in the virtual space, but that value is there.
Okay, so we are out of time. Hilda, I'll give you a 1 minute reflection on this conversation. First of all, I just want to commend you and the team's leadership for taking a servant leadership stance with the teachers. All of you have been amazing, humble, smart, intellectually stimulating people. So Hilda.
Thank you, Mike. I just want to end with letting people know that this work, although incredibly hard and difficult, is definitely a dream. And I am encouraged to see our students thriving, our teachers thriving, our school thriving, and as part of our district in leading the way that we're transforming teaching and learning. And there are so many things to explore, and I'm just excited to be part of this community, particularly CVA, but also the partnerships that we want to build. And so I just want to thank you for having us here and the team. I think it's a whole, you don't see them here, but it's a whole team effort, and we're excited to the work that we've been doing and the work that we're yet to do to help our students in our communities. And so thank you for having us.
Yes, and on behalf of the district, thank you, CVA team.